We are Metal Nation Radio, playing the best classic metal, thrash metal, death metal, and so much more. Tune in to metalnationradio.com because united we rock.
I now am going to be airing my interview with KLANK. If you're not familiar with KLANK, you definitely should be, and you will be after you listen to this interview. KLANK are a band from the Bay Area. They're in San Jose, and didn't originally start there, but they're more of an industrial music vibe. I tend to really, really love industrial music. You know, the great thing about industrial is it really crosses many, many different, many different types of music, not just metal. You get people pretty much, a very wide variety of people that attend any kind of industrial concerts. I've seen Nine Inch Nails a few times, and every time I go, I'm always amazed at the wide range of people that you get at their concert. And KLANK is a similar type of band, although they do not sound anything like Nine Inch Nails. They definitely have their own unique sound. They definitely have that ability to grab listeners from many different genres and really pull them in. Their music is, I love it. I think it's fantastic, and they are about to come out with a new album sometime this spring. Really looking forward to that, and they've got some interesting gigs coming up, so you'll hear about that on the interview. So let's get going with that. So here's KLANK on Metal Nation Radio. United we rock. I've got KLANK and Eric from the band KLANK on the phone with me tonight. Hi, guys. How are you?
We're doing good. How are you doing?
Great. KLANK, you came from the New York City industrial music scene. You were in Circle of Dust to start with. Although it may have been difficult to part ways, it seemed to me like it was a necessary step. I've listened to quite a bit of music from, of course, KLANK and from Cell Dweller, which is where Circle of Dust went. And Clayton seems to have found more of an electronic dance vibe, while you've stayed more true to an industrial metal vibe. Tell me how important it's been for you to keep that metal influence in your music.
Well, I keeps it real. We keep it real. So, we'll never turn our back on our roots or who we are or where we come from. We were always into heavy music, and we're not ashamed of it. You know, some people look at the term metal as a derogatory slam against people like, oh, look, you look so metal. I'm like, whatever, you know. We wear it as a badge of honor. We're not ashamed of who we are or what we listened to growing up.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you should say that, because I was going to ask this a little bit later on, but since we're bringing out the whole idea of metal, I find that the metal scene is very, very interesting and diverse. And one of the things, you've reached number 1 on the Reverb Nation metal charts for San Jose. You reached that on March 27th, 2013, and you're still there, and you've been there ever since.
Training at the top!
Woohoo!
So that's all our good people out there, the people that, like, you know, play and listen. We call them our KLANK Nation. They're loyal listeners, and they're so awesome. They support us so much. You know, without them, none of it would be possible.
Do you find in general that you are very firmly entrenched and accepted in the metal scene, or do you ever have people that feel what you're doing by adding kind of more of the dance aspect to your metal makes you less metal? Do you ever get those elitists that go, oh, you're not metal?
Well, you see, the funny thing about that is, like we were saying in a different interview, was we try to be kind of unique, where, yes, we're heavy and we are metal, but like most people, like if they come into a bar or whatever, and they're like, oh man, this is a metal show. Like most people tell us, they're like, dude, the one thing about you guys is you guys aren't like everybody else. You have your heavy moments, you have your mellow moments, and you have so much other stuff going on that it's not that it takes away from the metal, it's a different type of appeal. So we kind of, a lot of the people that would be more snobby and say, oh, you know, you're a little too experimental or whatever, for me, because I'm just a strict metal person, they take a shine to it because it's not the everyday thing. You know, we try to, you know, keep it original as much as we can on our end, and it's helped us. You know, I mean, we always joke and say we're very fortunate because whether there's 300 or 300 people in a place we're playing, as soon as we start playing, you know, there'll be those people you see that they don't look like they're going to be into it, and by the end of the first song, they're bobbing their head along and they're getting into it, and people always say, man, you guys win everybody over. I don't understand that.
Well, that's the thing. When you get really extreme forms of metal, it can be a real something that divides a room apart for sure, but when you have something that appeals to a broad range of people, it seems like it will get one person going and then another, and pretty soon you've got the whole room on your side, which probably helps when you're playing live.
Oh, totally. Yes, it does, because you can see the change in the crowd. You know who's there to see you. You know who's just drunk, hanging out, right? And then you know the people that are just, like, kind of sizing you up, like, what is it about these guys? You can just totally see it on the faces, you know? And then that's why we were, like I said, very fortunate to, for the most part, we win over the majority of who we're playing for, you know, even if, and we've had people come up and go, man, this is so hard for me because I totally don't like your type of music. I don't. And they're very adamant about it. Like, but I like you guys. They don't know why, but it's cool. So, you know, then they shake your hand or whatnot, or, you know, give you the knuckles, and we like you, you know?
I just think the whole industrial metal scene is really interesting because it is really quite diverse. KLANK, you left the East Coast and you've been in San Jose now for quite a number of years. How have you found that the scene in California is, like, how does it differ from New York, and how do you feel that the change has contributed to the evolution of the sound of your music?
Well, it's definitely, East Coast and West Coast is different. I mean, there's East Coast thrash scene in the 80s and 90s, and then there was the West Coast, Bay Area, LA thrash scene, and you can hear differences. Bands from the East Coast, if you'll understand, like, bands from the East Coast sound like they're from the East Coast.
Yes, yeah.
West Coast, normally, they do it like, you know, you can hear a bunch of bands and be like, this is definitely a Southern California kind of band. But one of the things for us is we bring that East Coast flavor over here, so it's funny because it's part of the lore, I think, for us, because people go, oh, you guys are originally from the East Coast, and I mean, you know, we don't sound like every other band around here. We don't really sound like any other band around here. And it's cool because it kind of works in our favor, because we play with tons of, other local bands here all the time, and we've been very fortunate because once we started playing over here, you don't really know how you're going to be accepted because it's not your hometown. I mean, you live there, but it's not where you grew up and where you have roots.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's, on one hand, there's still kind of like that hazing of, like, the upper echelon standing at the door, hypothetically, with their arms crossed, waiting, we're not sure if we like you yet, kind of thing. But we've been very fortunate, we've played with a lot of cool bands. We've made friends with a lot of really cool bands over here, and we've been kind of welcomed with open arms, and which is really cool. And one of the guys from one of the other local bands, Bomb and Scary, was saying to me the other day, and he's like, dude, that's kind of like, we had this conversation, and he's like, that's part of the thing, man. He's like, you're here, and, you're from here now. He goes, but you bring a totally different thing, a different flavor to you guys' music. He's like, and it was funny because he's talking about, like, playing the show and, watching the other people in the audience and how he knows certain people and he knows what they like and how, we start playing the song, and he's like, it's really cool to see the people that normally wouldn't be into that kind of thing totally grooving on it.
It's pretty cool. Eric, your background, what was your background before being in KLANK? Like, what did you play a lot of?
I was in a Southern California-based rapcore band called EDL, Everyday Life. We were playing in the Midwest in Illinois at a festival called Cornerstone. That's where I basically met face-to-face in real time. It was in HD. I mean, we rolled through and the side door of the van slid open, and this homie jumps in the van and is like, hi! And then he needed a band, and my band was kind of like, we just finished a record, but we weren't gonna do any touring, so I was like, screw this, let's go. Carl, our guitarist, and I jumped in the van and did the first KLANK tour. Yeah.
It's been an interesting ride ever since.
Yeah, because I was looking around, couldn't really find much information, but I had a feeling there was kind of an interesting story there. So, yeah, I wanted to touch on that a little bit. You guys are returning to New York for your first hometown show in 14 years. So you're appearing at Even Flow Bar and Grill on Saturday, March 22nd with Toxic Shock. How did this come to be, and what are your feelings about returning to the New York industrial scene?
We're totally stoked because obviously that's, where I grew up and where I'm from. Our guitarist Pat used to play in Toxic Shock years ago, and then he had left right just before the band had, like, officially broken up and whatnot, and then he was doing his own thing, and then he started playing with KLANK. He hits me up, and he was talking to us one night, and he's like, hey, Toxic Shock's doing a reunion show in New York. I'm like, what? Like, really? Wow, after so many years. I'm like, so I was like, well, next question is, well, are you going to play it with them? He's like, well, yeah, they called me. So, so we were like, oh, that's cool. Then he was like, hey, what are the chances of us playing that show? So he's the guys in Toxic Shock, and because we're KLANK is a three-piece, it would really be only a matter of, like, getting 2 more tickets. It was getting down to the time where Pat had to definitely buy his ticket, to lock in a certain price. So they were like, well, you know what, let's do it. So it became a double headlining show, which is awesome because I come from a really big Italian family, so I have an insane amount of family members back home, a lot of friends. Pat's got a lot of family because he's from there also, and he's got a lot of school friends. I've got school friends. We even got some people coming in from other states that I haven't seen in years that were just coming in for the night to hang out and get a room. And so we're totally stoked for it. After 14 years, we left on a high note. We had won the Battle of the Bands there at this one place. The biggest DJ in New York, the biggest metal DJ, Fingers from WBAB, had introduced us at the Battle of the Bands. We ended up winning it, and that was like the last time we had played New York, and we're just totally looking forward to coming back. There's such a buzz about it right now that the club owner was telling one of the guys in the other band, he's like, dude, my phone is going crazy. The social media sites are going crazy. He goes, you guys need to start selling tickets soon because they're going to sell out. There's no doubt about it. And the place holds around 200. So we've been joking and saying all along, obviously we want everyone to see the show, but I want it to be like 400 people show up and there's a mob scene and they have to turn people away. Because that's how you get pressed. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was going to say, with only 200 spots in there, I would think that, like, that's probably going to be like half your family, isn't it?
Well, theoretically, yeah. I mean, we are going on late, so some family already said, well, you do realize that that's after 10 p.m. and I turn into a pumpkin by 11 o'clock, so some of them won't be out late, but we're stoked. We're really looking forward to it.
Well, that sounds really cool. I can't wait to hear about it and hear how it goes. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic.
They'll actually have a DVD of the video footage once it's done.
web's home for the best metal.
Oh yeah, got a good variety.
Metal Nation Radio.
I know you're currently working on some new material as well. Tell me how this process works for you as a band.
Kind of evolving now from like what it used to be where, you know, Blank would write and put it to a drum machine and do 4 tracks, and then they would build it outside of a studio setting, but off of, since Urban, we've been jamming pretty much just everything and then writing off of the jam sessions that we record, and it's been more of the same but kind of more intense because now we have a better feel for how we bounce off of each other. So that interaction, now we kind of, it's more of a feel thing, so you just kind of let it go, and we have have to record everything because there's those moments of magic where you're not thinking about anything but playing and what riff are you doing right now and how can I make that just slam, and everybody's thinking the same thing, but we're all feeling the same direction to go, and like we change and we come back to if we can remember what we were just playing, we'll come back and jam that part again and then move on from there, and then we take those tapes and actually program out drums, a sketch, program those out, and then Pat will usually record some scratch guitars, scratch vocals, and then start all the programming of all the noises, the funky stuff that Pat does, the track filler.
It sounds really interesting and somewhat complex for sure.
Yeah, it's really cool because once you start it, it consumes you, and once you're done, you're like, where'd that time go?
That's the joy of making sure we record all the jams, because some stuff you come across in just the heat of the moment when you're playing, something happens that's magical. It's an accident, you didn't mean for it to happen, and it was so cool, and then there's no way to remember exactly what you did, and that's the joy of having the tapes to go back to, because then, we'll scroll through and be like, this is the part right here, man, we need to make sure we do this, and sometimes you don't even remember what you did, and that's why it's great to have the rest.
So what can we expect from the new music that you're creating right now? Because it really, it's not like you're just playing it. It sounds like it's so layered and there's so many different aspects of it. So you really are creating this new
musical soundscape. We tell people.
Yeah. So what can we expect? How is it going to be? Similar to what we've heard in the past. How is it going to be different?
Well, it'll definitely have its heavy moments. We are where the mosh pit meets the dance floor. When people say what is KLANK, we tell them KLANK is where the mosh pit meets the dance floor, and that we like to have our heavy elements, our dance elements, our mellow moments, our heavy moments, our really extreme moments. I mean, there's a variety on the new material we're working on. It's leaning a lot towards the heavier side of things, and some of it's like deceivingly heavy because the guitars might not be as heavy as you think, maybe not as fast, but there's a really brutal vocal melody line over it that's sung really kind of nice, and it's weird. It kind of jacks you up mentally because it's really heavy, but it doesn't come off so heavy. Mm-hmm. It kind of messes your perception of it, But
then once you're done with it, you're like, I'm laid out flat.
Yeah, that hurt to listen to in a good way, it knocked you out.
Do you have any idea of when it's going to be released?
Well, we're in the pre-production stages now, and right after our New York show, the first weekend of April, we officially start recording and tracking the new CD. So we don't have we're taking our time with it. We don't have an estimated time frame yet. It'll definitely obviously be in this year, and it'll be soon. I mean, we're not going to take 5 months to do it, but, we don't even have a title yet, but we're really anxious about it, and we're amped, as soon as we start recording, it's not going to take long because that's part of the reason we've been practicing so much.
Well, that'll be great. I'll be one of the people that will be waiting to get my hands on it so I can play it on air. I was wondering too, in the past you've had some guest artists on your music, like Doug Panic from King's X. Anybody that might show up on your album, or are you keeping that secret?
We're kicking around a couple of people. We've talked to a local person here that played. Well, I'll be really cryptic. He played for two of the biggest thrash bands here in the Bay Area, and he's good friends with us. We played with his newer band, and we talked to him, and he's totally down. We have a couple of surprises in the works. Nothing's solid yet. We've talked to a few people. We're just going to kind of see how it goes. We have. I've been talking to Sin, the guitar player from Ministry, a bit too, and he said, once we have exactly what we want him to do, to just let him know, and that would be awesome because who doesn't like Ministry,
Yeah, no kidding. That'd be pretty cool.
And that's like, one of my bucket list things is to do a song with Al Jorgensen, whether it's him on one of ours, us on one of his. It doesn't matter. I just want to, before I die, I need to do something with Al Jorgensen musically and his camp there, because that would just be like, musically, it could be like I could die now.
That would be the ultimate. Yeah, I'm a huge Ministry fan, so yeah, I'll be waiting for that. Like, that would be a great collaboration, whichever way it happens. So I'm wondering, are either of you working on any side projects right now?
Actually, yeah. There's a couple of things in the works. Eric and I have a side band we call TKR, and it's basically whiskey-fueled rock and roll. It's basically really good time, get liquored up, fun shenanigans in a bar kind of music, like hope you can still play by the end of the show. Yeah, because you're still wrecked. So basically songs songs about getting drunk, hanging out with your friends, and how much your job sucks. Because no one likes to work. I know I don't. So that's one of the things that we have like a bunch of songs. We have a bunch of songs about like just hanging out, and songs like, you know, Do a Shot with Me, Let's Get Effed Up. You know, we have a side project also. Pat and I have an electronic project called Synth Pop Lullaby, which is more like geared toward fans of like Depeche Mode, God Lives Underwater. Nothing heavy. It's all electronic, really singy. You know, it's like electronic dance kind of music. You know, it's a little bit of a departure as far as it's not heavy, but it's really cool and it's fun to do because it's a different outlet, you know.
Are you recording either of these projects?
Actually, yes, we are. We have a bunch of songs already done for Synth Pop Lullaby and that are sketched out. Eric and I have like 8 or 9 TKR songs that we have written. We just have yet to sketch them out. That's going to be as soon as we finish the KLANK CD. We're going to try to pull double duty and bang out the TKR stuff and then hopefully some Synth Pop Lullaby stuff and get that going so we can just have more stuff and more avenues to play.
Well, I'll be interested to hear those as well. I have a very diverse love for music, so I definitely would love to hear both of those. So I'll be waiting to hear those ones too. I wanted to ask you about social media because it's such a huge thing in the music industry right now. KLANK, we met through social media on Facebook when our Metalheads United page had, I think we had like, 250 fans. I think we're at almost 72,000 fans in a year and a half. You also...
we got in on the ground floor of that because you guys totally took off in a major way.
I want to know, how has social media worked for you? How has it influenced the success and reach of KLANK? And have you found that social media in general has made it easier for you to get seen and heard?
It definitely has a lot of pluses. It has some minuses, but it has pluses too. I mean, it's a lot easier to reach so many more people now. A couple of keystrokes, click of a mouse, and you have potential to reach millions and millions of people on sites such as yours and various sites and stuff. It's just back in the day when you were doing the show, you had to get postcards printed up and then get them stamped with postage and then lay them all out and mail them. Right. And it was postal code. Yeah, that was a hellish nightmare of collating and time and money. And I mean, now it's like you can make a flyer in your computer. You don't even have to print it. You can post it, and you can just please share and support, repost, you know, and totally helped us out a lot. I mean, so long now, it's like seeing the slow, I'm not death, but the slowly almost like phasing out of hard copy CDs because everything is so digital oriented these days. Vinyl's just big mostly because of DJs and a lot of people are trying to bring it back, but you know, it's been a change, you know, and social media has been such a good thing for businesses and bands because now like it's just so much easier, like reach people in Canada, reach people in Australia, Moscow. You know, we're lucky, we've got fans all over the globe, but not all of them were from buying them in the stores. Some of them were like, man, I was on this page, or one of my friends shared something that someone else had posted, and it was one of your songs, and, you know, I thought you were this really cool new band, and then I found out that you guys were 15 years old. What happened? You know, it's like, it's cool.
How am I just hearing about you now? You know,
exactly.
Well, and I think, too, like, you don't see as much, well, I find metal mainstream radio, there's not that diversity of the bands that they play on there. So, yeah, you get your Metallicas and your Megadeth and Black Sabbath, but a lot of times other bands don't really have that opportunity to be played. That's where I would think you'd really definitely count on more of the internet radio to get more play.
There's radio stations everywhere, all over the world, and most of those stations are hungry for music. They don't play, the part of the lure and the attraction is they'll play all the stuff that regular radio won't play, and a lot of it's really cool.
Anything else that you want to tell the listeners while I have you on here?
Well, we have a show March 8th, Saturday in Vallejo, California at Chris's Club, and we have the show Saturday, March 22nd in New York in Bayshore, Long Island at Even Flow.
Very cool. Well, and of course, I will be waiting with bated breath for the new music to come out so I can play it on Metal Nation Radio for our listeners to hear. And I just wanted to thank you for taking the time out of your very, very busy schedule and talking to me.
Thank you, and thank you for being so understanding, especially tonight.
Well, there you go. Now you know KLANK. At least I hope you do.
We are Metal Nation Radio. With the best DJs from around the world and streaming 24/7, 365 days of the year. Metal Nation Radio. United we rock.